Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear students, welcome back to online classes of Iqra Degree College, our project of Iqra Education System. This is the video lecture number 3 of English Prose for Intermediate Second Year. In the last video, we discussed about the background, characters, and keywords of chapter number 1, 20 minutes with Mrs. Okanta. Today, I will give you a brief introduction to drama, a brief introduction to the author, and later I will summarize this interesting story. I believe you will enjoy a lot. Before I summarize this interesting story to you people, my brothers, let me give you a recapitulation to this drama and brief introduction to author. 20 Minutes with Mrs. Okanta is an effective little piece of melodrama, notable for its skillful manipulation of suspense. It has a tragic plot and its theme is based upon crime, revenge and punishment. This play is divided into 2 parts: the background story and the present story. Let's continue with the introduction to author. Frank Arthur was born on 12th August 1884 and died on 6th November 1982. He was a civil servant by profession as well as a novelist, playwright and essayist of English literature. He also served as an accountant in Fiji and New Zealand before returning to England as a civil servant. His plays include Time is a Thief and She Would Not Dance. But 20 Minutes with Mrs. Okanta is an effective little piece of melodrama and masterpiece of his work. Dear students, let's buckle up your seats and get ready to enjoy this interesting melodrama. While I summarize the story, you may listen to me and focus on my explanation. It was a stormy winter evening when a young lady arrived by a train at a country railway junction. She apparently looked as if she belonged to a well-to-do society. At the railway station, she found a porter who carried her luggage, took her to the waiting room and lit the fire so that she could warm herself. From here, she was going to catch a train to her hometown, Stainthorpe. As she took off her gloves and spread her hands to the fire, a man with flamboyant personality came into the waiting room. He was also going to Stainthorpe by the same train as the lady. As they had 20 minutes to wait for the train to arrive, they started a conversation. The man told the lady that he was going to Stainthorpe to meet a lady by the name Mrs. Judy Okanta. This lady in the waiting room said to the man that she knew her. He further said that he had seen a photograph of her in a newspaper but could not tell how she looked like. During this discussion, the man accused Mrs. Okanta of murdering his wife and daughter in a car accident. This lady attempted to defend Mrs. Okanta by saying that it was an accident, not a murder. The police called it manslaughter. The man disapproved her defense for Mrs. Okanta and said that Mrs. Okanta had gone to a cocktail party and had wagered £5 to drive from Stainthorpe Cross to the coast in 15 minutes. He further said that it was impossible for her to win the bet because that route from Stainthorpe Cross to the coast could only be covered in roughly half an hour. So driving very fast to win the bet, she overtook a bus and found a lorry coming from the opposite direction in front of her. And in order to save her own life, he swerved her car onto the pavement and deliberately killed his wife and daughter. He was not convinced and satisfied that for such wicked act of deliberately murdering two innocent pedestrians, she was sentenced for only 18-month imprisonment. Now he wanted to punish her and take revenge because she deserved this vengeance. All of a sudden, the man pulled out his revolver and pointed to the lady in front of him. Dear brothers, the story here takes a turn, and Frank Arthur discloses that the man had already seen the name tag on that lady's suitcase when he entered the waiting room. But he had not revealed it to her until he was sure about it. Not only the name tag on the suitcase, but also a lady's strong defense for Mrs. Ockentub confirmed the man that she was the one responsible for ruining his family and his life. The lady confessed that she was Mrs. Ockentub, but she urged that she had mistakenly killed his wife and daughter. Moreover, dear students, that cunning and selfish lady fooled the man by saying that he would be doing a favor to her by killing her, because since that accident she had suffered mentally, as she would constantly see the crushed dead bodies of his wife and daughter, and that horrible scene of the accident would haunt her forever as long as she lived, which would be unbearable for her. The poor man believed her and left the waiting room, deciding that life for her would be more miserable and painful than death. As soon as the man went out, Mrs. Ockentub jumped to her feet in joy and put her finger on the nose scornfully that she had successfully fooled the man. But dear brothers, that's not all. She must receive poetic justice for her evil act and selfish nature. What happened next? The door suddenly opened and the man came in to take his luggage. But what he saw made him defiant. He immediately realized that he had been fooled. He pulled out his revolver again and shot the lady on the spot. Eventually, Mrs. Ockentub fell down on the floor and received her retribution. My brothers, this was a short summary of this whole story, 20 minutes with Mrs. Ockentub. This is the end of this lecture on 20 minutes with Mrs. Ockentub, and I hope you must have enjoyed the story and you have clearly understood this melodrama. In case you have any difficulty or confusion, you may watch this video again. See you in the next lecture. Till then, take very good care of yourselves. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.